Albertian Institute of Science and Technology. Make engineers, not just engineering graduates.
Hello students, myself Rahul Arpai. I am working as Assistant Professor in the Civil Engineering Department of Albertian Institute of Science and Technology. Today I am going to deliver a lecture on the topic Slope Stability from the subject Geotechnical Engineering Part 1. So in the section Slope Stability, we will be discussing about the different types of slopes, the various types of slope failures, the factor of safety for a given slope, and finally how to use the stability chart to determine the height of a particular safe slope and also the factor of safety of any given slopes. So before going into the detailed lecture, let us have some insight about what is a slope. So slope is an exposed ground surface which is at a particular angle with the horizontal. So it is a very cheap mode of construction, and also it is very easy because whenever we need to construct a slope, like for a railway or a highway embankment or for earthen dams, it is very easy to have a sloping surface. You take the native soil and you construct the slope, then the only thing you have to check is the safety of that particular slope. So compared to the construction of huge concrete walls and masonry walls, we can opt this kind of slope construction methods. Here in the figure you can see it is another kind of slope protection, that is a steep slope is protected by a kind of gabion wall. So it is a method used to protect slope. We will be going into such sections later. And moving on to the types of slopes, we can have natural as well as man-made slopes. So whatever valleys and mountains we see, they are all the natural slopes, and man-made slopes, whatever we construct, that means for our requirement for any construction activities, if we build a slope, then it is called a man-made slope. So here in the figure you can see a landslide is occurred in Wayanad in 2019 rainfall. So whenever a rainfall comes and it is heavy enough, then definitely there will be a landslide because that slope is unprotected. You are keeping on encroaching the slopes due to extensive quarrying and all. Such slopes get failed, and here it happened many times in such places because we must be very careful about that geology of that particular place, about the surface drainage, about the groundwater, and also the shear strength of that particular soil when we go and do extensive cuttings and excavations. So as far as slope stability is concerned, the major thing is whenever you are cutting a slope, the shear stress developed at that particular potential failure surface. You are cutting a slope means it is a failure surface. A failure surface zone develops there, and that potential failure surface is having some shear stress, and your soil, that native soil, is having some shear strength. So that shear stress developed must be always less than the shear strength of the soil. But if that shear stress developed is higher than the shear strength of that particular soil, then definitely that slope will topple down and it will cause huge damages. And this figure says it all, how a slope is getting damaged. These are another figure of how a highway embankment is failed. Here you can see here in the right hand side of this figure, you can see how a highway embankment is failing due to it is a steep slope is given, and maybe they might have not given any proper protection, or the proper analysis might not have done, and that is the reason why there is a failure. Here you can see a slope beside a highway is toppling down and it is caused a lot of damages. So you can see from the figures how serious the issue can be if we do not design slope to the proper safety aspects. Now let us move on to the types of slopes. So there are two types of slopes: infinite slopes and finite slopes. So I told you there are natural slopes as well as man-made slopes. So whatever natural slopes we see, they can be either infinite or finite slopes. In infinite slope, it extends over a long distance in the soil mass, and it is always inclined to the horizontal. So that is a infinite slope. In finite slope, the difference is you have a definite height, and height is limited, and you have a base and a top surface. That means whatever slope we construct for highway embankment or railway embankment, it has a definite height, and there is also a base and a top surface for that slope. So all the man-made slopes are finite slopes. So in the figure you can see here, it is an infinite slope. We can see it is a long sliding surface. It is also having a sloping angle represented as beta, and this z value is the height of that particular slope. So this is just a section of an infinite slope which is being shown in this figure. Moving on to man-made slopes, already I discussed. Now let us see some photographs of various man-made slopes. You can see the highways, the railway embankments. You can see the slope is not that steep. In earth dams you can see a steeper slope, and also for river training works, for diversion of the rivers to prevent the soil erosion, flooding and all, we do the river training works. And here everywhere whatever slopes are provided, they are for a construction activity, or it is for a particular purpose. So all these slopes are man-made slopes. Now let us see the slope failure triggering mechanism. So first one is intense rainfall. Whenever there is very high rainfall, it will cause problem in the surface. There will be proper surface drainage. So all such issues lead to slope failure, soil erosion and all happens. So that is one reason. Water level change, it is always happening in dams, in earthen dams. The fluctuation in water level can lead to a slope failure of dams. Then another thing is seepage through dams. If the foundation soil seeps on, and that can lead to slope failure of that particular earthen dam. Volcanic eruptions, the tremors from volcanic eruption can cause slope failure. Earthquakes, and also obviously human activities. Whenever we do excessive quarrying, that eventually leads to massive slope failures. So these are all the triggering mechanisms of slope failure. Now let us discuss about the types of slope failures. So there are 4 types of slope failures: rotational failure, translational failure, compound failure, wedge failure. And rotational failure is further divided into face failure or slope failure, toe failure and base failure. So let us discuss one by one. First of all, let us discuss what is a translational slope failure. So translational slope failure usually occur in infinite slopes, that means naturally occurring slopes. So in the figure here you can see this is a figure of translational slope failure, and you can see here that is the slope failure always occur parallel to that sloping surface. So this is the sliding mass, and it is always parallel. That sliding mass is always parallel to that sloping surface. So this is a translational slope failure which always occur in infinite slopes. Next is rotational failure. That means the sloping surface, the failure surface will be rotating and it will be toppling down. So there are 3 types of rotational failure: the face failure, toe failure and the base failure. So before moving on to the discussion, let us have some idea what are the parts. Whenever you denote a slope, what are the things coming in a slope. So here you can see this straight line, it is the face of a slope, and the things marked here, this is the orange circle you can see here, that is the toe of the slope. So these 2 are the parts of a slope which tend to fail, the toe as well as the face. And even the base of the slope can also fail. That base already I have shown here. This is the base of a slope. So let us discuss one by one. First, it is the face failure. So face failure usually occur in a strong soil. That means if the soil is having enough strength, and obviously that slope is a flatter slope, gentle slope, if it is not a steep slope, then only the face of that slope is failed. So here in the figure you can see only that face is being failed and it will fall down. So that is called the toe, that is called the face failure. That is the face of the slope is failing. Next is the toe failure. So this is the toe failure. Toe failure usually occurs in steep slopes. So even if the soil is strong enough, if you provide a steep slope and if you are not giving the proper factor of safety for that particular slope, then definitely there will be a toe failure. Next is the base failure. Base failure, here you can see the entire slope is failing. Entire slope including the base is failing. So here it can be due to multiple reasons. The first one can be due to the steep slope, and also if the soil is not properly compacted, if you are not constructing a slope properly. And another biggest reason is that when the foundation is very weak, when you have a very weak foundation, like you have a soft clay, and also when you are using the soil for slope or the entire native soil is very weak or soft, then this base failure can occur. So this is the most critical failure in rotational failure. So here in this figure you can see a rotational failure is very beautifully depicted here, how it occurs, how that entire mass slides down and moves in the downward direction. And next is a compound failure. So compound failure is a combination of two failures, rotational failure and translational failure. So here in the figure you can see in the compound failure, you can see the ends of the slope are curved and the bottom is a flat surface. So this is a example of compound failure. Next is the wedge failure. Wedge failure is nothing but a wedge shape is sliding down due to instability, and this usually occur if that particular wedge is having a weak soil layer, or if it is having any fissures or joints, then such wedge failure is occurred, and it is very similar to the translational failure. So another difference is between, but slight difference is there. Translation failure, it is always occurring in infinite slopes, but this wedge failure, it can occur in both the infinite as well as finite slopes. Now let us move on to the factor of safety for slopes. How will you find the factor of safety of a given slope? So I already told that the slope is stable if the shear strength of that particular soil of that slope is greater than the stress applied in that failure zone. So the factor of safety is the ratio of strength to the stress developed. Strength of the soil, the strength of the soil to the stress developed is defined as the factor of safety of a particular slope, and this value must be considerably greater than 1 for having a safe slope. So what are the factor of safety? Factor of safeties. What are ways you can compute the factor of safeties? So first one is you can compute factor of safety with respect to the shear strength, or with respect to the cohesion of the soil, also with respect to the friction or angle of internal friction of the soil. So three ways you can find the factor of safety of a slope. So here, how will you find the factor of safety with respect to shear strength? So we know that shear strength of soil is C plus sigma tan phi, where C is the cohesion of the soil and phi is the angle of internal friction. C phi are the two major shear strength parameters of a soil. So this shear strength, when this value is greater than the shear stress developed, or you can say the mobilized shear stress in that particular failure zone, then you can say that the slope is safe. That means if shear strength S is greater than tau m here is denoted as the mobilized shear stress, or that shear stress developed due to that failure zone. If S is greater than tau m, you can say that the slope is safe. So this is the equation. Factor of safety for shear strength is Fs is equal to, here you can see Fs is equal to shear strength of soil S by tau m, and where C is the cohesion of the soil, phi is the angle of internal friction of the soil, Cm is the mobilized cohesion of the soil. That means the cohesion of that failure zone or that entire mass which is sliding down, and phi m is the mobilized angle of internal friction. Next is how to individually find the factor of safety if different parameters are given, like if only the cohesion of the soil is given, or you have to find the factor of safety for cohesive soil, or if only the phi is given, how will you find the factor of safety? So if you find the factor of safety in terms of cohesion, it is nothing but factor of safety with respect to cohesion is equal to the cohesion of the soil divided by the mobilized cohesion. Similarly, factor of safety with respect to friction is F phi is equal to the angle of internal friction of that particular soil divided by the mobilized angle of internal friction. So these two ways also you can find the factor of safety if you have only the cohesion or if you have only the phi. But collectively, whenever you find the factor of safety for a particular soil, all the factor of safeties, that means if it is a C5 soil, then factor of safety with respect to shear strength, factor of safety with respect to cohesion, and factor of safety with respect to the friction angle, all these factor of safeties must be greater than 1 and it must be equal. Then only you can say that a particular slope is safe. Next is the Taylor's stability number. Taylor's stability number is just a number which is used to find the factor of safety or to find the limiting height of a slope. So Taylor suggested some numbers from which you can find the safe height of a slope. So that is a major advantage of this Taylor's stability number and this charts. So he also developed charts to find the stability, to find the factor of safety or the limiting height of a slope for a given stability number. So what is the equation for Taylor's stability number? Taylor's stability number Sn is given as the ratio of mobilized cohesion of soil to the unit weight of that soil in that slope. So what is the unit weight of soil? Unit weight of soil into height of that slope. So gamma is the unit weight of soil and h is the height of the slope. Or else we can write as, you know that in the previous slide we have seen factor of safety with respect to cohesion Fc is equal to cohesion by mobilized cohesion, and here this Cm can be replaced by Fc by C by Fc, that is cohesion of soil divided by factor of safety with respect to cohesion multiplied by the unit weight of that particular sloping soil and the height of that slope. So this is the equation for Taylor's stability number. So this is very important aspect to find the factor of safety as well as the limiting height for a given factor of safety. So this is a stability chart. Now this is the stability chart for slope angle and the angle of internal friction. And from this chart, how will you get the stability number? So let us consider an example. Say my sloping angle is 60 degree and the mobilized angle of internal friction is 25 degree. So this is 60 degree. So this is corresponding to 60 degree sloping angle. You have a phi m here 25 degree. So this is the curve for phi m is equal to 25 degree. Now what will be the value approximately? We will see here. The stability number for that particular curve is around 0.075. You can see here it is around coming almost from here, that is it is 0.075, almost in the middle of 0.05 and 0.1. So that is the stability number corresponding to a slope angle 60 degree for mobilized angle of internal friction 25 degree. So this is how you determine the stability number from the stability chart or this particular graph. So you have the unit weight of soil, you have the height of the soil, and if you have the C value, the cohesion is also given, then you can find the factor of safety. What will be the factor of safety? You can check whether that factor of safety is greater than 1 for that adopted sloping angle. So for 60 degree, if you have the factor of safety greater than 1, it is well and good. You can construct that slope. But if for particular angle, if that factor of safety is less than 1, then you have to trial for another slope angle. So this is how you find the slope angle or the factor of safety, both based on the stability chart. Next is for purely cohesive soil, that means if the mobilized friction is 0, then we have another chart here. The stability number is plotted against the depth factor. So what is the depth factor? df is equal to depth of hard stratum below the top of the slope divided by height of the slope. So for a given depth factor, you find this df, and for that particular slope angle, so for various slope angle you find the depth factor, and for that particular depth factor, from this graph you plot the, you find the stability number, and then from that you can get the factor of safety. The method is same how we found from the previous chart. The same way we can find the stability number from this chart, but this is for purely cohesive soil. Now let us move on to the uses of stability number. So here already I have explained how you use the stability number, but again let us just brush up that. So if you have a slope angle and you have a mobilized angle of friction, I value is given, that is the slope angle, and you have the I value and you have the phi m value, that is mobilized angle of internal friction. From that you can find the stability number Sn. Sn is equal to, you have this equation C by Fc into gamma h. So for corresponding to that particular slope angle and angle of internal friction, you find the stability number, and using this equation you can find the factor of safety. And or else if you are given a factor of safety, that is some client is asking you that he wants a factor of safety of say 1.5 for that particular slope. So in that case, what is the height, what is the safe height which you can provide, or even for that case what is the angle, what is the slope angle you can provide. So that also you can find out, that is you can determine the steepest slope for a given factor of safety using the stability number. Here you can see the charts. In the stability charts you can see here, for a phi m value there are various phi m values given from 0 to 25 degree, and for that phi m, and also for a given slope angle, the slope angle is increasing and even up to 90 degree, that means it is almost vertical, that is from 15 degree to 19 degree. So when the slope angle is varying, and for a particular phi m, what is the stability number? So this you can find out, directly find out from this chart. So this is one chart, another chart is given for purely cohesive soil, that means the phi m is 0. So here it is varying, the slope angle is determined in terms of the depth factor. So you find the depth factor, and for a corresponding depth factor, what is the stability number for a selected slope angle. So these are the two very important stability charts from which you can find the stability number for a C5 soil as well as for a cohesive soil, that is phi is 0. So this is all about the aspects of types of slopes, various types of slope failures we have discussed, and also we have found how to determine the factor of safety for a particular slope, and also the stability number, relevance of stability number in slope stability. Okay, so that is the end of the lecture. So in today's lecture we studied the different types of slopes, the various types of slope failures, and how to determine the factor of safety for a given slope. In the next lecture we will discuss the various types of slope stability analysis. Thank you.